Okay. So somebody said, hey, can you show the slide where you talk about the offer numbers? Okay, I'm going to keep that slide up here. So these are the typical offer numbers from Q1 and Q2. And we talked about, so these are based on the actual offers we got, but if you look at it by level, this is typically what it is, right? So let me keep this up in the meantime. So Soumya says, hey, when you say performance-based references, what does it mean? Do we get references from company if we have done well in tests? No. So Soumya, the way this works, and let me actually go back to that, is you have an entire career component of the program, right? In that, we can connect you with alumni, hiring managers, and companies, because we have folks at all of these top companies. When we say performance-based, right, essentially we are looking for people, we're looking to connect people with companies once they have reached a point in the course where we feel they have done well and they're actually ready, right? Typically, they would have done a couple of mock interviews, they would have done some tests, and they are starting to feel more confident. And the reason we do that is it makes no sense to connect people with companies when they're not ready, right? Because then you will just go there and lose out on that opportunity, right? So we will wait to see that you are ready, that you are in a position where you can actually go and interview at companies, you've done some practice, you're starting to feel good about yourself. That's when we will make all of those connects. See, connecting you with companies is the least of your worries, okay? We have been doing this for a really long time. And like I said, one of the FAANG companies themselves have approached us saying, can you train people who fail our interview processes? So we are well set up to help people connect with companies because of our network once they are ready, right? And ready typically means that they have gotten to a point where they started doing well and they've potentially done a couple of mock interviews so they know what this process looks like, okay? All right. Apurva, you've asked a question that says, how much importance investment do you put into the data science track? So Apurva, you've raised your hand as well. Let me just get you to the stage to talk, and maybe you can ask me your questions and I can just answer them. Apurva, you'll have to unmute, please. You're on mute.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Yeah, this is really great introduction. So yeah, so as you heard, I'm a data scientist, and I understand that since most of these are very focused on software engineering or engineering management, I just wanted to see get a quick understanding of. Yeah, thank you. So do you want to talk a little bit about what sort of successes you've seen with data science career track as well, and and anything that can help me understand a little bit more about your strengths in this area in addition to your strengths in the software engineering roles.
So Apurva, actually there is nothing like a software engineer. Okay, that term is actually a vestige of the past. It's like saying I want to go to a doctor, right? You don't, if you're ill, you don't say I need to go to the doctor, right? You have an oncologist, you have an orthodontist, you have an ophthalmologist, right? You have a cardiac surgeon, you have, it's all nuanced, right? So we don't have expertise in software engineering, right? We have expertise in all of these areas, right? So there is no one area that we are more capable versus being less capable in another area, because in each of these cases, all of this is fundamentally designed by pools of hiring managers who have very strong engineering backgrounds who focus on specific areas. So for the data science track, the entire track has been designed by hiring managers who come from a data science background, right? In the when you look at statistical analysis, when you look at SQL programming, when you look at unsupervised learning, when you look at time series, all of the components which form different weeks of the course, they are all taught by hiring managers who have a data science background, right? So each of our pathways is self-contained, nuanced, and highly developed, right? Because they're all being taught by these hiring managers, right? So that is how we think about each unit, right? We have been now doing these for a while, right? It's more than a year since we've launched all of these 17 different pathways. So all of them are now fairly mature, right? Even when you do mock interviews, you have the ability to do mock interviews in every specific domain, right? So you could, let's say, as you know, since you're on the data science track, you will need to be good at coding and you will need to be good at your domain. So you could do mock interviews on the data science domain in any of these areas. You could do mock interviews on the coding questions, because you'll also get coding questions, and you can do mock interviews on career skills, right? So each track, very self-contained, built by people who have deep expertise in that track. In terms of the offers that we see, right, these kind of offers, they're across the board. There is no fundamental difference, right? Some tracks may be 5-10% lower, some tracks might be 5-10% higher, but there is no fundamental difference between each of our tracks, right? All of the tracks, these offers represent folks from all of the tracks, right? And most top companies, there is not fundamentally a huge difference between the different types of roles. Some might be slightly higher, some might be slightly lower. Yes, so there is some amount of difference between, let's say, management and people who are on the IC track, but even ICs, staff engineers, senior staff engineers, they are quite comparable with engineering managers. So if anything, the difference is by level, by experience, L5, L6, L7, L8, right, versus specific paths, right? And in terms of success rate also, that's what we see, right? No difference in terms of specific paths. Okay, Gaurav and Sarip, you guys have questions, but let me just go back to chat. I think there are a few questions there. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. Soumya says, how many mock interviews do you have for the early engineering program? So Soumya, all of this is written in the agreement, right? So go through your agreement. All of this is there. You have any questions, please reach out to a program advisor. They can advise you and tell you how many mock interviews you have for every specific program, okay? So there's a question that says, hey, I see that the front end masterclass is in the back end part of the full stack masterclass. So guys, Arun, I'm not sure whether you caught the way so let me actually just put that up, right? So this is the front end curriculum. This is the back end curriculum. And this is the full stack curriculum I had already shown earlier, right? So your focus should be on the fact that in every one of these areas, the curriculum it's not something that we have just concocted, right? This is very mature curriculum. It has been developing for the last 6-7 years. And it is curriculum built by these folks. So the difference between the front end, full stack, back end curriculum is based on the feedback and the interview processes that we see at top companies, right?